Well, I'm sorry to say it, but this is the last show of the season. And as you can tell by looking at the ground beds, we've already pretty much taken everything out. But it was actually a very beautiful garden area this summer, and I wanted to just take a few moments to review some of the things that we had planted out here. Well, one of the favorite things of people that came out to visit the studio landscape was the edible landscape garden, because it combined a formal design with edible crops. Not only was it beautiful to look at, but we also got a great crop of potatoes, onions, and even beans and carrots out of this garden. Well, the big hit with the kids was the children's garden, and this was a garden combined of things that were interesting to children, like a gourd teepee and a flower clock. But the favorite thing of everyone, both kids and adults alike, was Miss Blossom, who was the showcase in the middle of the garden. We think she even helped keep some of the raccoons out of our corn. Well, one of my favorite gardens was the cut flower garden, containing both annuals, perennials, and woody plants to get cut flower arrangements out of throughout the year. And we tried to bring you an arrangement each month this season using plants that we grew in this garden. One of the more colorful spots in our garden was our patriotically themed red, white, and blue garden. These featured easy-to-find flowers such as salvia, impatiens, petunias, and pentas that had red, white, and blue blooms. One of the more unusual gardens was our allium garden, and this featured plants in the onion family that had a wide array of colors and sizes of blooms. Later in this year, we changed this garden into our fall mum garden for a beautiful show of fall color. Once again, we enjoyed our grass garden, and we now have a good idea of the grasses that will perform well here in Oklahoma. One of the most educational gardens to us all was our Oklahoma Homesteaders Garden. And while it wasn't as showy as the others, it was very informative. It was interesting for us to see the crops that were grown by the settlers, and also to learn of the hardships that they faced when some of their crops didn't come in. We also had a lot of fun with the tropical plants that we planted around the barn in our tropical barn garden. We were amazed at the number of plants that grew so well here in Oklahoma and how big they all got. In 1996, we also added an additional permanent garden, and that was our demonstration trial of shrubs, which can be used by both visitors to our gardens and students in landscape horticulture classes in order to find shrubs that will do well here in Oklahoma. In our formal garden area, we established a new rose garden, as well as continued to enjoy both the herb garden and the butterfly garden. We're going to enjoy watching these gardens as they mature throughout the years. Well, after seeing all of the gardens we had this year, you may be wondering what we've got in store for you for next season. And right here in front of me is just one of the projects that we're going to be showing you. Steve Owens, our studio grounds manager, has been hard at work designing and starting to implement this rock garden. And we're going to come and show you how to put in a rock garden and some of the plants that you might want to use if you're putting in a rock garden of your own. Some of the theme gardens we're hoping to bring you in '97 include the hummingbird garden, filled with plants and flowers that are attractive to hummingbirds. We'll also be bringing you an orange garden with plants and flowers that are all orange to show off that OSU spirit. One of the award winner gardens will be filled with ornamentals with selections from the AARS and the Perennial Plant Association that are all award-winning flowers. We'll also be bringing you a formal carpet garden, which is not a carpet, but a garden that is very formalized and filled with flowers and colorful foliage plants that are cut low. Our vegetable garden this year will be filled with vegetables from around the world, showcasing some of the more unusual vegetables that you can grow. And finally, because our children's garden this year was such a hit, we'd like to bring you another children's garden with an alphabet theme. Well, all of the programming that you've seen over this last year wouldn't be possible without the help and hard work of a lot of special people. And I just wanted to take a few moments to give some special thanks to these. And first of all, our sponsors, John Deere, Oklahoma Nurserymen's Association, PSO, and Oklahoma Urban and Forestry Council for their funding and support, without which we wouldn't be able to bring these gardening programs to you week after week. I'd also like to thank the OBGA ambassadors, the Oklahoma Gardening Work Studies and interns, and also the OSU horticulture faculty and staff for all their hard work keeping the gardens maintained and also seeing to the day-to-day needs of the program. I'd like to thank the Oklahoma Cooperative Extension County agents for all of their help in getting this information that we give out on the program out to you all so that you can use it and also be available when you have questions to ask. And finally, I'd like to give a special thanks to Tulsa County horticulturist Sue Gray for all of her help in coming over and filling in as an interim host on Oklahoma Gardening. And especially, I would like to thank you, the home viewer, for tuning in and watching Oklahoma Gardening. Well, this is our last show of '96, and coming up in the next 2 months, we'll be bringing you the Best of Oklahoma Gardening 1996. Now, these are shows that we've taped throughout the year featuring gardening projects and also plant varieties that are adapted for Oklahoma. So you might want to tune in and plan your gardens for next year. Well, before we go, I'd like to mention the horticulture industry shows, which will be at Tulsa Community College Northeast Campus on January 3rd and 4th of 1997. Now, these are great meetings to go to, both for people in the horticulture industry and also for home gardeners who are looking for some more in-depth horticulture information. If you're interested in finding out more about these meetings or registering, you can call 918-647-9123. Well, again, thanks so much for tuning in this year, and I hope that you have a wonderful and joyous holiday season.
We hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. You can also find more recent videos on our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.